Hey YouTube, this is Matrix Cell working on behalf of Nightbloom Vision, and I'm here to bring you your second C++ tutorial. So this is where we left off in our last tutorial. All we did was print text to the screen, and we kept the window up using this underscore getch right here. So today I'll be going over what all this code means. So let's get right into it. So to begin, we did this hashtag include iostream. So what does this hashtag include mean? We use hashtag include when we want to import a certain library into our program. And in this case, we're importing the iostream library or the input output stream library. And what the iostream library allows us to do is basically to print or output text to the console or get input from the console. And one of the facilities this library provides is the cout, which is the output stream. So the out and cout meaning output. So what this does is basically print text to the console. And we're only able to use cout because we included this input output stream library. So let's talk more about this line right here. This line is what you would call an expression in C++. So to illustrate my example, I'm actually going to delete that line and do something else. Alright, so an expression in C++ is not much different from an expression in math. Alright, so what did you learn in math class? So an expression in math is just this. So to put that into definitive terms, an expression takes two operands, the 3 and the 4, and it also has an operator. And the operator does an operation on the operands. In this case, the addition operator adds 3 and 4, and then it yields a value, which is equal to 7. So an expression is composed of two operands and an operator which does an operation on those two operands to yield a value. Okay. Well, in C++, this is actually called the right shift operator. And the right shift operator in this context takes in two operands, our string or text right here, and our cout, our output stream, what we're printing onto. In other words, the console window, that's our cout. So what operation does this right shift operator do? Well, I mean left shift operator. It's actually called the left shift operator. So what does this left shift operator do? Well, this left shift operator takes whatever is on the right hand side and press it onto our output stream. In this case, our console window. Okay, so you might be wondering, well, an expression in math returned a value. We can see here that 3 plus 4 returned 7. It yielded the value 7. So what does a expression do in C++? Well, in C++, an expression also yields a value. And in this case, the value that's yielded is actually the left-hand side of the operator, which in this case is our cout, our output stream, the console window. Okay, so to illustrate this better, let me show you another example. All right. In math, we also know it's possible to do something like this. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, this is an expression chained together with another expression. So the 3 plus 4 by itself is an expression, and that yields the value 7. And then we use that 7 again in another expression and add it to 3 to yield the value 10. So as you can see, we chain together these expressions. We use the value returned from this expression, which was 7, and then we chain it together with another expression to get the value 10. Well, in C++, you can also do the same thing. To illustrate this better, I'm going to put parentheses around this. And the parenthesis in C++ is the same thing as a parenthesis in math. You want something to happen first before the other, you put a parenthesis around it so that this expression executes before the other expression. Well, we don't need parentheses here, but I'm just doing this to illustrate my point, get my point through. Okay, so what happens here? So we know that this left shift operator returns the left-hand side. That's the value it yields. So what happens when we do the C out hello is that it prints this to the screen, right? The console window. And then this left shift operator returns this output stream, which is our console window. And that is used to chain together another expression, which is used to print world to our console window. So this is the same thing as doing and then again doing these are both the same thing. This line right here equates to these two lines, but this is much shorter because we don't need to type out two different lines because we can just use the value returned from this expression, which is the C out right here, and then use that for the next expression. It's not much different from what we do in math class. Look at this. Same thing, same thing. So we can go ahead and then print that out. CTRL F5. It'll take a while. This computer is so slow. All right, you can see it prints out hello world. Again, this left shift operator, it printed out hello to our output stream, which is the console window in this case, and then it returned the left hand side, the console window, the output stream, and then we use that in another expression to print out world. So that's that. Okay, so another thing I want to go over today is the fact that we used con.io in our last video. Okay, so and then underscore get comes from this con.io library, by the way. So we use this and it worked perfectly fine to keep the window up, but the problem with this is that it's not a cross-platform solution. Like for example, this won't work on Linux. That's why I'll try to use a different method to keep the window up to date. So instead of using con.io, we're just going to use cn.get. We're going to talk about stdcn. And I'll talk about the std in a later video. Okay, so this is an alternative to using underscore get, but it's also a more cross-platform solution because this will work on Linux and Windows, whereas the con.io library is like exclusive to only certain C++ compilers. So this is for those Linux users out there who are trying to keep their window open. This is a great solution. And then you might also notice that C in and C out, they sound very similar. Well, cin is the input part of the input output stream library. Cin also comes from the input output stream library. We'll talk more about that later. So if we run our program here, we'll notice that it's the same thing, works the same way. All we did was we used cin.get instead of the underscore get. All right, so this is Matrix Cell working on behalf of Nightbloom Vision. Subscribe below, donate to our Patreon, join our Discord if you have any question, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thank you for watching.